It's your boy, Mark W. Grateful alcoholic, recovering alcoholic, but most important, I'm an alcoholic and my name is Mark W. I gotta remind myself of that every day. Just want to touch base on step one, right? Step one, we admitted we were powerless and our lives have become unmanageable. The key word is we, right? We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and our lives have become unmanageable. Boy, was my life unmanageable. You see, I got this thing between my ears. It's called a built-in forgetter. It forgets how unmanageable it was, and my disease will tell me that it will be all right next time. And I got to remind myself every single day that it's not going to be all right. I am powerless over alcohol. Once I have that first sip, it's off to the races. Step one, I was told, is the most important step. And it's the scariest step. And it's the only step that has alcohol in it. All the other steps, they don't say nothing about alcohol. But step one is laying your foundation. And if you can't admit that your life is unmanageable, first of all, if you can't admit that, you're going to have that built-in forgetter. You're going to think you're different. But you have to admit you're powerless over alcohol and your life has become unmanageable. I am powerless. I admit that. I surrender to that. If you can't do that, go back out. The book says try to have controlled drinking. One thing I was told early in sobriety is, hey, Mark, if you don't like what we're trying to teach you here and you don't want to take suggestions we're giving you here, we'll refund your misery. Here's $10. Go ahead, go buy yourself a little bottle and see how that works out for you. And I'm like, no. No. I'm a progressive alcoholic. I look at my life from when I first started at 13 to when I turned 44, I should say. When I was 44, my life hit rock bottom. And I realized God was the rock at my bottom. And God gave me the gift of desperation. And that gift of desperation I took action on. And I had to take action. The book says faith without works is dead. But willingness without action is fantasy. I added that because I learned that from what I call the pocket sponsor. It was this little book I bought, and every hour of the day, it will say day one. You look at your calendar, so today's the 23rd. You go to day 23. You look at the hour, it's 8:30, so you go to 8, or then you go to 9, and it has a one-liner or a little paragraph or something to read. And that book helped me a lot early in sobriety. And it said in that book, if faith without works is dead, then willingness without action is fantasy. And it says in the big book, action and more action is required. And I said it earlier in my other video today that, I believe gratitude is an action. I think meditation is an action. I think love is an action, to be honest with you. And if I don't take action, guess what? It's just fantasy to this alcoholic. So back to step one. You're building a foundation here. You don't want your foundation, and this is how I always think about it, because this is a true story that happened to me. I'm working on step one, and my autistic son is playing the Three Little Pigs. I'm a huff and a puff, and I'll blow your house down. And the only house that didn't blow down was the one that was made with a solid foundation of bricks, right? If you have a straw house or a wood house, your foundation is not going to be strong. But if you have that solid brick and mortar, I'll call it, stone house, you're going to have that solid foundation. For me, I got to practice step 1, 2, and 3 every single day, multiple times a day, especially when I first wake up. Because listen, guys, I go to bed treated, a non-alcoholic, and I wake up a raging alcoholic, untreated. And every day I got to say, Mark, do you remember how unmanageable your life was? Yes, I do. And I saw it getting worse and worse and worse and worse each and every day. Each and every day. And I'd say, I'm not going to drink today. And guess what? I drank. I said, I'm going to wait till the weekend. Nope, I drank. I said, I'm not going to drink at work. I drank. I'm not going to drink after work. I drank. My life was so unmanageable. I couldn't control it until I checked myself into a program. And even then, I still had that mental obsession. I was thinking about it, and I read in the book, why don't you try some controlled drinking? And then something clicked. I don't know exactly what it was, but something clicked. I guess it's like they say, you keep coming, more will be revealed. They told me, you don't love yourself. I was like, I don't. They said, keep coming, let us love you until you love yourself. I remember one guy said, Mark, you believe God's a hating God? And I said, yes. He goes, do you believe that? I believe that God is a loving God. I said, I don't know. He says, well, can you believe that I believe it? I said, yeah, I can believe you believe it. That's easy. So it's kind of like, all right, here's the analogy I was taught in treatment. Let's say you're driving from New York to Florida, and your check engine light comes on, and you're in Florida, you don't know nobody, but you know me, right? And you're like, I need a mechanic, my check engine light's on. Now I refer a mechanic to you. You don't know the mechanic, right? But you're just gonna believe that I know the mechanic and he's not gonna rip you off, so you go to the mechanic, right? When you get to the mechanic, he gives you an honest, reasonable price, he does the job, make sure it's done correctly, you don't overpay, like somebody's trying to rip you off. Now that you're going to the mechanic, now you can believe, right? Now you know. You don't just believe because I told you, you know he's a good mechanic. So believing and knowing are two different things. I know there's a God. I'm going to tell you why. I know I can't see oxygen, but I need it to breathe. I know that when I don't have oxygen, I go unconscious. I don't just die, I go unconscious. So when I'm conscious, I can think and I can see. When I black out, I go unconscious. I can remember, my subconscious remembers. But I believe that we breathe in consciousness as much as we breathe in oxygen, and we need it. I believe that consciousness is my higher power, the divine essence, the Holy Spirit. I believe that's God. And something clicked that made me believe that, I am completely powerless against alcohol. And my life was completely unmanageable. So that's what I think about step one. Step one is the rock that forms the foundation. And without that foundation being solid and strong, there's a good chance you're going to go back out. And what scares me the most is when people go back out, your chair is not guaranteed. I have a guy in my home group, he shakes the chair all the time at the end of the meeting. And I asked him one day, why do you do that? He said, brother told me in the rooms, this chair is not guaranteed if I go back out. I've been to other meetings, especially on Zoom. You got the Hollywood squares, they call them. They say, you know how many people died for your square, Mark? Oof. I was also taught, buy a suit, because if you go out, you're going to be buried in it. And if you stay, you're going to see a lot of people that you're going to need to wear for it. And that one really hit me. I've been sober 9 months, and I've already experienced 4 deaths. 2 were really close to me. But it didn't make me go drink because I have tools, and I have a solid step one. So guys, I just wanted to let you know, this program works if you work it. There's precise instructions, there's promises, you can identify your problems, there's stories in the back so you can really identify. Don't compare. Don't compare your war stories with the next. Just try to identify. Be open-minded, be willing, and be open-minded, be willing, and be honest, right? They told me the how and turned it to who, because how was honest, open-minded, and willing. But then they said you got to do the who, be willing, honest, and open-minded. And it changed everything for me. Do these steps with all honesty. And guess what? It's spiritual progress, not perfection. You don't got to be perfect. So, as I'm at 8 minutes, I'm almost back at my house. I love every single one of you. Every single one of you. Sometimes I don't like you. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to keep it real always. But, my God loves you. Look around the rooms when you go to a room and just keep your eyes open and realize everyone in that room should be dead multiple times and it should be a giant morgue. But God has a purpose for all of us. Do what makes you happy. Don't care about other people's opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one and most of them stink. You got to do what makes you happy. You got to do what makes you happy. Because if you don't, then you're going to be miserable. And when you're miserable, guess what? It's easier to turn to a bottle. What makes me happy today is helping others, trusting God, cleaning house, and helping others. I don't know what God's bigger purpose is for me yet. I know He's got one because I'm not dead, and I can be dead multiple times. But I do know I need to trust God. I need to clean house. I need to help others. And trusting God is steps 1, 2, and 3. Cleaning house is 4 to 11, and then service is 12. That's helping others. So everybody, it's your boy Mark W. Grateful alcoholic today. And I always got to remind myself I am an alcoholic and my name is Mark W. Sometimes I used to say I'm an alcoholic and the problem is Mark. I came in for the drinking and I'm staying for the thinking. That's another cliche that I heard, and it starts to make sense. So more will be revealed. I love every single one of you. Thank you for spending this time with me today, March 23rd. Love you.